Our Prophet simply the best. Our Prophet simply the best. Our Prophet simply the best. Our Prophet simply the best.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. Amma ba'd fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Salatu wa salamu alayka ya Rasulullah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah. Salatu wa salamu alayka ya Nabiyallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurallah. Amirul Mu'mineen Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu states, إن الدعاء موقوف بين السماء والأرض لا يصعد منه شيء حتى تصلي على نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. Meaning, indeed, dua remains suspended between the sky and the earth, and nothing of it ascends until you send salat upon your Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, welcome to another episode of Silsila, Our Prophet Simply the Best. In our last episode, we learned about the miracle of Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam before the announcement of prophethood. After the announcement of prophethood, these miracles are called mu'jiza. What is mu'jiza? We learned the definition. We're going to repeat the definition again today. A mu'jiza is an unusual and extraordinary action that occurs through the blessed Anbiya alayhimu salatu wassalam for the purpose of revealing the truthfulness of their prophethood, of their nubuwwah. And that action is impossible to occur in usual circumstances. A mu'jiza is a divine sign that reveals the truthfulness of a Nabi alayhi salam. It is the action that must be contrary to usual way of occurrence. In other words, a mu'jiza is the action that is quite impossible to take place by apparent means and usual methods. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, famous companions of Rasul, Sayyidina Jabir radiyallahu ta'ala anhu has stated that at the time of the Battle of Trench, Ghazwa Khandaq, while we were digging the trenches, suddenly a big boulder appeared. No one was able to break it. We came to the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam and told him about the boulder. The beloved and the blessed Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam stood up. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam had not eaten anything for 3 days, and there was a stone tied to his blessed stomach. Taking a pickaxe in his blessed hand, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam struck the boulder, breaking it into pieces and turning it into a heap of sand. This shows the power, the strength of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. It is also stated in another narration that he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam struck the boulder with the pickaxe 3 times. And each time light glowed from the boulder, and he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam saw the cities of Syria, Iran and Yemen in the light. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam then gave his blessed companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhum the good news of conquering these 3 countries. Sayyidina Jabir radiyallahu ta'ala anhu states that seeing the stone tied to the blessed stomach of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, due to hunger, due to being remaining hungry continuously, I felt a deep sorrow in my heart. Therefore, taking the permission from the Holy Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, I came home and told my wife, I have seen the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam in the state of severe hunger, and I cannot have this patience any longer. Do you have anything to eat? She replied, there is nothing at home except a 1 sa, which is 4 kilo, about 8 pounds of barley. I said, grind this barley quickly and knead the dough. Then slaughtering my domesticated young goat and chopping its meat into pieces, I said to my wife, cook the meat and loaves of bread quickly while I returned to the Holy Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. As I was about to exit the home, she said, We only have a small quantity of food, so fetch the holy Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam along with only a few companions. Do not get any more people, I will feel disgraced. On reaching the trench, Sayyidina Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu quietly told the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, at my home I have got prepared loaves of bread of 1 sa flour and a meat of a young goat. Please come to my home along with only a few companions and have food. Listening to it, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam announced, O people of the trench, Jabir has given a meal invitation. Come to his home, all of you, and have a meal. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam then said to me, do not have loaves of bread baked unless I come. After he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam came home, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam put his blessed saliva into the dough as well as into the meat pot and prayed for blessing. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam then ordered that loaves of bread to be baked and the pot not to be removed from the stove. Then loaves of bread were baked and the wife of Sayyidina Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu started giving food from the pot, which was served to the guests. 1,000 blessed companions, Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'een, ate food and they were satiated, they were satisfied, they became full. But neither the dough nor the meat in the pot decreased. Subhanallah. Sayyidina Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu states, then the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam gathered the leftover bones in the center of the pot and put his blessed hands over them and recited something which I could not hear. The meat of that very goat which was eaten right now suddenly raised from the dead, shaking its ears. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said to me, take your goat. I brought the goat to my blessed wife. She said in astonishment, she was surprised, what is this? I replied, by Allah Almighty, this is the same very goat of ours which we had slaughtered. Allah Almighty has resurrected it by the blessed dua of the mercy of the entire creation, the guide to the path of salvation. Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Hearing this, the wife radiallahu ta'ala anha spontaneously exclaimed, I testify that undoubtedly he is the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam of Allah Almighty. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, normally when we eat the food and when the food is inadequate and the people are more, there is no option left other than increasing the quantity of food. Now just think about it. There's approximately 4 kilos of flour, which is about 8 pounds of flour, and a baby goat, but the blessing of the sacred and the blessed saliva of the Rasul of Rahmah, the intercessor of Ummah, the distributor of Ni'mah, the owner of Jannah, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, is that not only the food sufficed the whole blessed companions, but the same very quantity as cooked was left over, and then by reciting something on the leftover bones of the goat, made it rise again, along with its flesh and skin shaking its ears. The great thinker of Ummah, Mufti Ahmad Yar Khan Naimi rahmatullahi ta'ala has mentioned some pearls of wisdom under this blessed miracle of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. He says, there were 1,400 people who ate this food. Amongst them were 1,000 people who dug the trench, and 400 were those who were in their homes in Madinatul Munawwara and markets. The children of Madinatul Munawwara, rather women, were also included in this feast. In short, there was a crowd of the abundance of people who had the meal. They were fortunate to have the privilege of eating the blessed food. The Rasul of mankind, the peace of our heart and mind, the most generous and kind, invited all of them that day. The feast was from beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, and the house was of Sayyidina Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Therefore, the announcement for inviting all of them in the feast is absolutely correct. The thing which does not get reduced by using it can be used without the permission of its owner, like studying under the light of someone else's lamp, availing shade from someone's wall. Today, this food would not be lessened by the people eating it. Therefore, the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam invited everyone without the permission of Sayyidina Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Sayyidina Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu was surprised by the announcement of inviting all people. The Rasul of Rahmah, the intercessor of Ummah, the distributor of Ni'mah, the owner of Jannah, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, saw him surprised and comforted him by saying, "Don't worry, Allah Almighty will grant favor and will feed everyone who attends. Just do not remove the pot from the stove and do not start baking the loaves of the bread, then see the divine marvels." Mufti Ahmad Yar Khan Naimi rahmatullahi ta'ala says that this parable contains many prophetic miracles of the sacred and blessed saliva of the most honorable Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Blessings in abundance in the fillet, blessings in the broth, blessings in abundance in the salt, spices and oil of the broth, blessings in abundance in the flour, blessings in the firewood from which these things were being cooked, the power and strength in the hands of the one who baked the loaves of bread. Else, preparing for the feast of such a huge group of people requires hundreds of kilograms of meat, firewood, flour, many cooks, an adequate number of oven as is required in the wedding feast nowadays. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, 12 water springs gushed out from a stone when they were hit by the staff of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. But here, by the blessing of the sacred and blessed saliva of the greatest Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, there was abundance of fillets, broth and all the spices in the pot altogether. Subhanallah. Oh my dear viewers of Madani Channel, be mindful that the mu'jiza is the evidence of Nabi's prophethood. Therefore, Allah Almighty has granted mu'jiza to every Prophet alayhi salam according to the environment and the sense of comprehension of their ummahs prevailing at that time. For example, in the era of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, the magic was at its peak. So Allah Almighty granted him, meaning Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, prophetic miracles of Yad-e-Bayda, bright and shining hand, and an asa, staff. He alayhi salam dominated the magicians from these prophetic miracles in such a way that all magicians fell into prostration and believed in him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Likewise, in the era of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, medical science, Greek medicine system has reached its peak, and doctors of that era had an influence on the people. So Allah Almighty bestowed Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam with prophetic miracles like treating born blind people and leprosy patients and resurrecting the dead, which left the then doctors in an astounding state. However, these doctors, accepting the fact that these miracles are far beyond human marvels, testified the prophethood of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. In short, every Prophet alayhi salam was bestowed with the prophetic miracles according to the environment prevailing in that era and conforming to the temperament and nature of the people. Someone was granted one, someone was granted two, and someone more than it. But as the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam is the prophet of all prophets, and the blessed seerah of the great Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam is the summary of the lives of all the blessed prophets alayhi salam, and the blessed teachings of the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam is the essence of the teaching of all prophets alayhi salam, and he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam came to this world with a universal religion, and all the former and latter nations of the world were the addressees of his blessed invitation. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made his beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam the combination of prophetic miracles of all prophets alayhi salatu wasalam of the past. And he, Azza wa Jal, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bestowed his beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam with these types of numerous prophetic miracles. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon him countless mu'jizat that were not bestowed upon any other Nabi or Rasul alayhi salam. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, among the mu'jizat of Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, the mu'jizat, the miracle of splitting the moon is an absolutely marvelous and decisive one. It is mentioned in the ahadith that the disbelievers of Makkah demanded from the blessed and the beloved Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam that show any mu'jiza and sign as a proof of the truthfulness of your nubuwwah, of your prophethood. At that time, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam showed the mu'jiza of splitting of the moon to them. The moon was split into two parts. This was narrated by Sayyidina Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Sayyidina Abdullah bin Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Sayyidina Anas bin Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Sayyidina Jubair bin Mut'im radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Sayyidina Ali bin Abi Talib radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Sayyidina Abdullah bin Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and Sayyidina Huzaifa bin al-Yaman radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Among these narrations, the most reliable and authentic is the one reported by Sayyidina Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, which is mentioned in Bukhari and Muslim and Tirmizi. Sayyidina Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was present at that occasion. He radiyallahu ta'ala anhu saw that mu'jiza with his own eyes. He radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrated that in the era of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa wasallam, the moon split into two parts. One part was seen above the mountains, whereas the other was seen below it. Showing this scene to disbelievers, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa wasallam said to them, "Be witness, be witness." My dear viewers of Madani Channel, amongst the mu'jizat of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam that took place in the sky, the mu'jiza of reappearance of the sun after it had set is also very meritorious and glorious. It is a clear sign of truthfulness of the Nabuwah, the prophethood of sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Sayyidina Asma bint Umais radiyallahu ta'ala anha narrated, the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam offered Salatul Asr at the stopover called Sahaba near Khaybar. Then placing his blessed head on the lap of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam went to sleep. Meanwhile, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam began to receive revelation. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu continued to sit with the blessed head on his lap until the sun set. When the greatest and the noblest Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam became aware that the Asr Salah of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala had been missed, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam prayed, "O Allah, Ali was obeying you and your Rasul, and therefore make the sun reappear so that Ali will offer Asr Salah." Sayyidatuna Asma bint Umais radiyallahu ta'ala anha stated that I saw with my own eyes that the sun that had set reappeared with sunlight shining on the peaks of the mountains and everywhere on the earth. Subhanallah. Sayyidina Anas bin Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrated that there was once a very severe drought in Arabia. At that time, when he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam mounted the pulpit, a Bedouin stood and made a request. "Ya Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, animals are perishing and families are starving because of no rain. So please make dua." At that time, there was no sign of any cloud in the sky. But as soon as the beloved Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam raised his blessed hands, clouds came like mountains from everywhere and covered the entire area. Before Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam stepped down from the pulpit, the drops of rainwater started dripping onto his blessed beard. The rain continued to pour down for 8 consecutive days. On the next Friday, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam sat on the pulpit for delivering a sermon, and the same person came to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, or someone else stood up and made a request aloud. "Ya Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, homes have collapsed and cattle have drowned, therefore make dua so that rain stops." Listening to it, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam raised his blessed hand once again and prayed, "Allahumma hawalayna wa la alayna," that, "O Allah Azza wa Jal, may it rain around us and not on us." Then he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam gestured towards the cloud with his blessed hand. So the cloud split and drifted away, and rain stopped in and near Medina. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, both these miracles that we just heard about, the sun coming back up after being set, the rain being poured after the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, proves that the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam has been granted authority by Allah Almighty over the skies. His vast kingdom by the Almighty is not limited to the earth, but rather he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam has authority over the creatures of the skies as well. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, we've heard the mu'jizat of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam have power over all creatures of the universe, right? We just heard about the mu'jizat in the sky. It is now appropriate to mention some of the countless mu'jizat taking place on the earth. The Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam's authority exists not only in the skies, but also on the earth as well. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu stated, I once went somewhere along with the Holy Prophet ﷺ in Makkatul Mukarramah. From every tree and mountain in front of us, I heard with my own ears the words, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulallah. Subhanallah. Similarly, Sayyidina Jabir bin Sumra radiallahu ta'ala stated that the beloved and blessed Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, in Makkah is a stone that used to say salam to me. I recognize it even now. Subhanallah. Sayyidina Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma stated that a Bedouin came to the court of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam and respectfully said, how can I be sure that you are the Rasul of the Almighty Allah? He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, if I call the hanging bunch of the date palm tree and if it comes to me, will you then believe in my Nabuwah? The Bedouin said, yes indeed, I will certainly acknowledge you as the Nabi of Allah after observing this miracle of yours. The revered and the renowned Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam called the bunch of dates. So it immediately moved from the tree and came to him, meaning came to the blessed Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Then he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam ordered it to return it back to its place and join with the trees. Observing this mu'jiza, the Bedouin instantly entered the fold of Islam. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, Sayyidina Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu ta'ala said, we were on a journey along with the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. A Bedouin came to him and he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam invited him towards Islam. The Bedouin asked, is there any witness to your Nabuwah? He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam replied, yes, the tree at the corner of the plains will testify my Nabuwah. Therefore, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam called the tree and it immediately came to him, tearing the ground. The tree then testified his Nabuwah thrice aloud. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam then gestured to it, so it returned to its place, moving on the ground. When mentioning this narration, scholars have said that the tree said, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulallah, to the court of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam after coming to him. The Bedouin became Muslim immediately after seeing this miracle of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. He then respectfully said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, allow me to prostrate, allow me to perform sajda to you. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, if I had ordered anyone to perform sajda to someone except Allah Azza wa Jal, I would have ordered a woman to perform sajda to her husbands. Saying it, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam did not allow the Bedouin to perform sajda. The Bedouin then said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, please allow me to kiss your blessed hand and foot. The Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam allowed him. So Bedouin kissed the blessed hand and foot with great reverence. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, Sayyidina Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, two companions, Sayyidina Usayd bin Hudayr and Sayyidina Abbad bin Bishr radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, continued to converse with the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam since it was dark. Prophet ﷺ blessed them with two sticks, and both these sticks would started glowing in the dark that will help them to reach their house in the dark night. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, after these two left for their homes from the court of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, the sticks that were provided by Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam suddenly brightened, and both of them continued to walk in the light of the stick. After walking together for a short while, they were to go on different ways for reaching home. At that time, the stick of the other companion also brightened, and both reached their homes in the light of their respective sticks in a pitch dark night. It is also said that one Sahabi who was holding the stick touched the stick of the other Sahabi, and through the blessing of the stick that was given by Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, the other stick also illuminated. The other stick also became bright and was able to show the path in the dark night. Similarly, Imam Ahmad narrates from Abu Sayyid Khudri radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Sayyidina Qatada bin Nu'man radiallahu ta'ala anhu once offered Salatul Isha with the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. It was very dark night with the sky full of dark clouds. At the time of leaving, the beloved Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam bestowed upon him a branch from a tree with his own blessed hand and said, go to your home without any fear and danger. This bush will brighten in your hand in such a way that 10 men ahead of you and 10 men behind you will be able to walk in its light. After you reach home, you will see something black, beat and drive it out of home. Therefore, what Holy Prophet ﷺ said proved to be absolutely true. As soon as Sayyidina Qatada radiallahu ta'ala exited the home of the beloved Prophet ﷺ, the bush brightened, and in its light, he radiallahu ta'ala reached his home, where he saw something black was present. Following the order of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, he radiallahu ta'ala beat and drove it out of his home. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, our Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam's miracles are countless. There are miracles that relate to the animals as well. Following the narration is mentioned in the book of Ahadith with some different words. The camel of an Ansari became out of control and nobody could bring it under control. It even attacked people to bite them. People informed the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam about it. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam intended to go near the camel, but people tried to prevent him, saying, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, this camel runs to bite people like a dog. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, I have no fear of it. Saying it, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam moved forward. The camel came in front of him and bowed down, performing sajda to him. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam stroked its head and neck with affection, so it became quite obedient and was easy to control. Catching it, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam handed it over to its owner and said, every creature of Almighty knows and recognizes that I am a Rasul of Allah Azza wa Jal, but disbelieving jinns and human do not acknowledge my nubuwwah. Seeing the camel perform sajda, blessed companions radiallahu ta'ala anhum said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, even animals prostrate to you, so we human should also prostrate to you before anyone else. Listening to it, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, if it were permissible for a human to perform prostration sajda to any other human, I would have ordered women to perform sajda to their husbands. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, we will continue miracles after miracles of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, to see that there were so many miracles of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. So then Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma narrated that a Bedouin from the tribe of Bani Sulaim once passed by the blessed gathering of Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, who was present in a crowd of his companions, Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajmain. The Bedouin had an iguana with him that he caught from the jungle. The Bedouin asked people about the beloved Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. So they informed him, he is the Nabi of Allah Azza wa Jal. Listening to this, the Bedouin became attentive to him and said, by Lat and Uzza, these were their false gods, I will not believe in you unless this iguana of mine believes in you. Saying this, he placed it in front of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam called out the iguana. So the iguana said, Labbaik wa sa'adaik, so loudly that all those present heard it. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam then asked, who is your Lord? It replied, my Lord is the one whose arsh is in the sky and whose kingdom is in the earth, and his mercy is in paradise, and punishment from him is in hell. The Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam then asked, O iguana, tell, who am I? It replied aloud, you are the Rasul of the Lord of the worlds, and are the last Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. One who believes in you will succeed, and one who disbelieves you will fail. Seeing the scene, the Bedouin became so impressed that he immediately recited the kalima, became a Muslim. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, praise is for Allah Azza wa Jal, who has guided you towards the religion that will always remain dominant and will never be dominated. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam then taught him Surah Fatiha and Surah Ikhlas. Listening to these two surahs of the Holy Quran, the Bedouin said, I have heard articulate and eloquent speeches as well as short and long talks, but by Allah Almighty, I have never heard any speech better and greater than it until today. Subhanallah. Then the beloved and blessed Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said to the blessed companions radiallahu ta'ala anhum, he is a destitute person from the Banu Sulaim. Give financial help to him. Listening to it, many people gave him a lot of things. Sayyidina Abdul Rahman bin Auf radiallahu ta'ala even gave him 10 pregnant she-camels. The Bedouin then departed for his home along with all the things. On the way, he saw the 1,000 riders from his tribe, the Bani Sulaim, armed with lances and sword, were coming. He asked them, "Where are you going to? And what's your intention?" The riders replied, "We are going to fight with the person who assumes himself to be a prophet and speak ill of our idols." Having listened to it, the Bedouin recited the kalima aloud and related the whole story to them. After the riders heard the faith-refreshing story of the Bedouin, all of them recited, "La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam." Sayyidina Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu ta'ala stated, during the era of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam, there was no tribe other than the Bani Sulaim whose 1,000 men embraced Islam at the same time. This hadith was narrated by great muhaddiseen such as Tabrani, Bayhaqi, Hakim and Ibn Adi. Subhanallah. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, the father of Sayyidina Jabir radiallahu ta'ala borrowed something from non-believers and was martyred in the battle of Uhud. Sayyidina Jabir radiallahu ta'ala reached the court of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam and said, "Ya Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, my father was in debt and he passed away. Except dates, I have nothing to pay the debt, and the amount of dates produced is not sufficient to pay debt even in many years. Please come to my garden so that out of your respect, these non-believers will not treat me harshly while asking me to pay the debt." Therefore, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam came to the garden, moved around the pile of dates, prayed and sat on the pile of dates. By virtue of his miraculous authority and prayer, there was so much blessing in dates that all debt was paid off. Even after giving the dates to the creditors, there were as many dates left over that were given to the creditors. Subhanallah. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, Sayyidatuna Malik radiallahu ta'ala anha had a leather-made hollow pot in which she radiallahu ta'ala anha would send ghee to the court of Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam as a gift. Great blessings took place in this pot. Whenever the sons of Malik radiallahu ta'ala anha asked for curry and she radiallahu ta'ala anha had no curry at home, she radiallahu ta'ala anha would take out ghee from the pot and give it to her son. For a long period of time, she radiallahu ta'ala anha always kept taking out ghee from the pot and cooking curry with it at her home. One day, she radiallahu ta'ala anha emptied the pot by squeezing it out. She radiallahu ta'ala came to the court of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam asked, "Have you squeezed out the leather pot?" She replied, "Yes." He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, "If you had not squeezed it out and left it as it was, so ghee would always continue to come out of it." Subhanallah. Sayyidina Ya'la bin Murrah radiallahu ta'ala stated, during a journey, I saw 3 mu'jizat of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. The first mu'jiza was, I saw a camel that anxiously placed its neck in front of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam called the owner of the camel and said, "This camel has complained to me about excessive work and less food. Therefore, keep treating it nicely." The second mu'jiza, the second miracle was, he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam was sleeping at a stopover. I saw that a tree moved to him and bowed low to him and then returned to its place. After he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam woke up, I mentioned it to him. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, "The tree sought permission from its Lord to say salam to me. The Almighty Allah granted the permission to it, so it came and said salam to me." Subhanallah. The third mu'jiza, the third miracle was, a woman brought her son who was suffering from frenzy. So, holding the nostril of the child, the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, "Get out, because I am Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam." We then left. On our way back, we reached the same place. So the beloved and blessed Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam asked the woman about her son. She said, "By the one who has sent you with truth, we have not seen this child feeling any pain ever since you left." Subhanallah. Muhammad bin Hatib radiallahu ta'ala anhu was a blessed companion in his childhood. He once fell from the lap of his mother into the fire, suffering from burns. His mother brought him to the court of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa wasallam, who rubbed his blessed saliva on the child and prayed. The mother of Muhammad bin Hatib said, "Before I stood up with the child from there, his wound healed up completely." Subhanallah. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, with a difference of wording in some sentences, many narrations of the book Bukhari contains the following mu'jiza. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu complained about his weak memory. The Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said to him, "Spread your shawl." He radiallahu ta'ala anhu spread his shawl. So he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam placed his blessed hand on the shawl and said, "Now wrap it up." Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala said, "I did as was advised, and since then I've never forgotten anything." Subhanallah. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, studies of ahadith show that streams of water flowed from the blessed fingers of Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam more or less on 13 times. We're going to hear about it one. In 6th Hijrah, the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam departed for Makkah from Medina with the intention of Umrah. He stayed at the plains of Hudaybiyah. There were a large number of people, therefore the well dried up and people were in desperate need of water. The beloved and the blessed Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam is an ocean of mercy. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam asked the companions to pour their water, whatever leftover water they have, pour it in a bowl. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam then placed his blessed hands of mercy into that big bowl, so streams of water flowed from his blessed fingers, quenching the thirst of 1,500 troops. Besides making wudu and ghusl, people also watered their animals and filled their bags and pots with water. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam lifted his blessed hand from the bowl and the water disappeared. People asked Sayyidina Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu, how many men were there at that time? He radiallahu ta'ala anhu replied that we were 1,500 in number, but there was so much water that if we were 100,000 in number, water would still suffice all of us. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, these were some of the miracles of the blessed Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. We all have heard that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed His beloved Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam with countless miracles. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with the love of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our iman. Ameen. Bijahin Nabiyyin Ameen. Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-Habib. Sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad. Sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam.
Our Prophet simply the best. Our Prophet simply the best. Our Prophet simply the best. Our Prophet simply the best.